Hi guys, I'm Aqeel Ahmed and I'm teaching A2 Computer Science at TEFSL. Today my topic is sorting. But before we talk about sorting, we'll have to do some rough work. It's a continuation of what you have learned back in AS level. So you have to have clear understanding about swapping. There's going to be a massive use of swapping in the process of sorting. So before we start sorting, we should know what swapping is. So what is swapping? Take a look. Value of A is suppose 5. Value of B is suppose 6. When I say swapping, meaning the data of these two variables should be interchanged. For that, you have to have a third variable that can be temp here. If I write temp is equals to A, that means you have created the backup of A into the variable temp. And then now you can play with the value of A and you can write A is equals to B. That means the contents of B have been copied to the variable A. And then you can say B is equals to temp. So this sorting or this process of swapping has completed. You might be thinking that how this set of 3 lines would swap data. For that we can do some more rough work. All the variables that are being used there, use them as column heading A, B and temp. These are the 3 variables I've used. We'll start with the first line. First line says that A is equals to B. A is equals to 5. First line says A is equals to 5, so you can move 5 here. Second line says B is equals to 6, then you can move the number 6. You can write down this number column. You can write down this number 6 in the column B. After that we are saying temp is equals to A, meaning whatever is written here that will go in temp, so 5. And then we are saying A is equivalent to B. A is equivalent to B, that means bring the contents of B into A. So 6 would come here. And then we are saying temp is equals to A, that was done there. A is equivalent to B, that is done here. Now we are at the third line and we are saying that B is equivalent to temp. B is equivalent to temp, meaning the contents of temp is 5. That 5 will take place here in the column of B. And now you can see, forget this, now you can see that the contents of column A and B have been swapped. So remember, whenever you talk about swapping, this set of 3 lines are very important. And then one more hint is, if you draw a diagonal line here, and diagonal line here, so you have to have identical variables there. Now, I'll move to my today's topic, sorting using arrays. Sorting using arrays. So first of all, imagine that we have an array of about 5 different locations. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 locations. The array has been labeled as n. And then in that array of n you have the numbers stored, but these numbers are stored in jumbled up order, meaning they are not in sequence. So I'm writing 80 first and then 4 after that, 72 and then 63 and then 6. Now, what to do when you are sorting data? We'll have to mark the top position 1. I repeat, we have marked this position A. I'm not marking this number, marking the position. And then we have to compare all the rest of the number with the first location number. So what I mean is, The first comparison would be in between, is 80 more than 4? Is 80 more than 4? Your answer is true, yes it is. If the condition is true, that was the condition, if the condition is true, we'll have to swap these numbers. So 4 should go up and 80 should come down. 4 should go up and 80 should come down. And once again, so this first comparison was done. And then we'll compare the selected location number. As I've said in the beginning that we have chosen the location, so whatever number is there, this will be compared to the next in turn. That means now we are making the comparison between 4 and 72. Is 4 bigger than 72? Your answer is false. No. If your answer is no, false, that means no change would take place. And there was a change when this condition was true. You can repeat this process, keep going on. Now we'll make the comparison of this first position number with the number that you have in position number 3 or 4. Position number 4. That means now the comparison would be in between 4 is more than 63. Is that true? So we'll say false again. No change. And then we are going to make the comparison between the first position number with the last one. So is 4 bigger than 6? Answer is once again false. That means no change. So this process of comparison has completed first time. And what is the type of the change that you have noticed? The lowest number of the list has taken its position. This number is the lowest number of the list that has taken its position. So 4 is right there on the top. So that means we have completed just first pass of this sorting. And after the first pass, the lowest number of the list has taken its position. And now, if you focus in detail, so supposingly if I say this was the position of I was 1, and I was comparing with the rest of the numbers, so it was keep on moving, we made the comparison with 2, and then third position number, then fourth position number, then fifth position number, so it was keep on changing. So I say, yeah, I'll mark that as J. So J was 2, then J became 3, and J became 4, and then J became 5. So there are 2 different types of positions that we were dealing with. We were making the comparison. So first comparison complete, first pass completed. After the first pass, lowest number has taken its position. That means now we don't need to include this in our rest of the sorting process. Now, the sorting will be continued, so we'll have to mark the position number 2. And whatever number is there at this position is to be compared with the rest of the number. So that means now we are in the second pass of this sorting. And in the second pass, we're talking about is 80 more than 80 is to be compared with 72. Is 80 more than 72? Is that true? We say, yeah, that's true. If it is true, that means the change is needed, some change is required, so this 80 would go up and the 72 would come up and 80 would come down. This was already been sorted. Let's erase this number completely as we don't want to touch that. So we were making the comparison between between this position number 72 and between the third position number. So it was 80 and 72. We were looking at that. So we found that 80 is more than 72. We swapped them. We changed their position. The swapping was done. And then the next comparison would be in between again. You go to your selected position number. Selected position says that the number is 72. You take that number now. 72 is to be compared with 63. Is 72 bigger than 63? Yes, it is. It is true again. If it is true again, that means once again the smaller number should move up and the lowest number should, the bigger number should come down. So smaller number should come up. That means 63 would come here and 72 would come down. And now we are going to make the comparison between, again, your chosen position number, that was 63, with the last number. So 63 is to be compared with 6. Is 63 bigger than 6? We say, yeah, true. If it is true, that means the number should be swapped and 63 should come down. So there you have 63. So after the second pass, we have seen that the second lowest number has taken its position. Last time we moved 4 on the top. Now we are moving 6 on the at that position number 2. So 2 numbers have been sorted out after the first pass and the second pass. And similarly, how many passes will there be? The total number of passes are going to be 5, and then every time you start making the comparison, so you need to choose the position and compare with the rest of the numbers. So that means if it is I, so J would begin from I plus 1. And then will be keep on increasing till the end. So J would start from I plus 1 and would go till the end. So if I go in the details of the third pass also, and we'll do it directly now, because as you understood that what we do in the first pass and in the second pass, you repeat the same process. This number has been sorted, so you take it out from the list and you moved it there already. Now we are left with these numbers in our array. So these are the numbers that are still not yet sorted, and we have to sort them out. So again you have to circle the position, that will be I. And your comparison would begin from the next number, that is J. And J is what? I plus 1, because I was 3 and J is 4. So that means it will be J plus I. J plus I. If I is 3, so J should begin from 4. And then this J should go till the end, till the number 5. So you got to make the comparison between 80 and 72, as 72 is smaller, so 72 would go up, 80 would come down, and then we are going to make the comparison. And then we are going to make the comparison between first number and then the last number. So we say that 72 is bigger than 63, so 63 should go up. And this 72 should come down. So these are the numbers now. And again, the lowest number of this list has taken its position. That will move to location number 3. So this process should be repeated. So when examiner says that you sort data, so examiner might say that the array has been created, data has already been filled in it. You don't have to go in the details of creating an array. You don't have to go in the details of entering data into an array. Array is pre-created for you in your question maybe. An examiner says just sort it out. So you'll have to write down the program for this. How will you write it down? I've made it there, but I'll tell you from the beginning. I will remind all my students that how to create an array and how to fill that array. So I'll just try and make that quickly, do that quickly. Dim, supposingly that array is n, and then there are 5 elements, and I want that array to be created for integer number. After that, we have to fill that array. So you need a couple of more variables. In this program, we needed different variables. We needed a variable I, we needed a variable j. We need a variable I, we need a variable j. And then we need another variable for swapping the number, that can be temp. all these variables should be defined as integer. How will you swap the number as we were swapping? If the bigger number is on the top, you were swapping it with the second one. For example, if that was the case, suppose that 80 is there and 4 is there, that's I and that's j, and the array is n. So these are the two numbers, we want to swap them. What to do? Here last time we had the variable a and b, and we saw that the program for the swapping will be like this: temp is equals to a is equals to b, and then b is equals to temp. This time we don't have a and b, we have n of I and then we have n of j. To access this element, you write n of I. That means you're talking about this 80. To access this element, you write n of j. So these are the two numbers, 80 and 4, and they can be addressed as n of I, n of j. And we have to make a program for the swapping. So in that case, what will you do? So again, we'll write temp. In place of a, you can write n of I. A again, so n of I equals to n of j, that's b. So this is equivalent to b, you can say this is equivalent to a. So wherever I was writing b, you will be changing it to n of j, and then this will be equivalent to temp, and you can draw diagonal line. As I said before, you can draw diagonal lines. So there should be 3 diagonal lines and same sequence of variables. So how easily we converted this program of 3 lines that was without array has been converted to the swapping method that has use of array in it. Now, in order to test, you have to have an array. So we created that there. You have to fill an array. So you can use a loop for I is equals to 1, 2, 5, suppose. Or you can define a constant on the top, size, as integer. And if you want this array to be of 5 elements, you can change the size to 5. And then you don't need to write 5 every time, you can write size. And then you can write size again. That means this loop will go according to the constant called size. So for I is equals to 1 to size, and then you'll say next I. So this loop will run supposedly 5 times because this constant says 5. So we'll have to fill 5 values in an array. That array name is n, so I'll write n of I is equivalent to what? So remember that ordinary method you used to write console.read line to input data, but now I want to do this very quickly. Computer should generate 5 numbers in a random order and we'll sort them out. So for that you can use int and then r and d and then multiply by 10 and bracket close. So r and d is to generate the number in the range of zeros and 1, that might be 0.0057, and then we are multiplying it by 100, whatever answer is, that answer is suppose x, so that answer will be converted into integer and that will take place into an array. So automatically all 5 locations, because this loop will run 5 times, all 5 locations are going to be filled with different numbers, n1, n2, n3, there can be different numbers here. And then the program of sorting would come. I don't have a space there, so I'll write that here. For I is equals to 1 to 5, for j is equivalent to, now remember j is equivalent to what? J would begin from the next location, so j would begin from the next location, and how will you get that? I plus 1 to 5. And then you can compare the element if the number on the top is above, that means n of I. If n of I is more than n of j, then what? That means upper number is bigger than the lower number. What to do in that case? Then we need to swap, and that's the program for the swapping that would come here. And after that we'll say end if. The if command should be terminated, and then we'll say next j, and then we'll say next I. So loop that we started in the end will end first, and outer loop will end after that. The inner loop will end first, and then the outer loop would end. And this program of sorting would come here. And after that, you need a program that will print the contents of array. For printing the content, the same program can be used. In that, you just have to make a minor change. Just write console.writeLine and I. And this way you can print the contents of array. I already made that program. I tested that before, so I have that in my computer system. So we'll see how that program would produce data and will it sort it out or not. So we're going to run that program and we'll see that program will perform the same job that we wanted to. So let's take a look. I'm going to erase this. We're going to turn on the projector now and we'll see whether that program will produce this output. Yeah, so I was talking about that I've already made the program and we'll see how that program would work. So there you go. That's the program. And the quality of a programmer is that you should make a program that is of open type, meaning it should not be restricted to an array of 5 elements or 10 elements. Let's make it variable. I mean, you can expand it to any size. What if we have 1,000 elements in an array? And all those 1,000 numbers should be sorted out by your program. So we'll see. So on the top we have this constant defined there, size, and there you mention the size 5. You just have to make this change once only on the top, that you want array to be of what size, you specify that there. Whatever you specify here, your entire program is going to be modified accordingly itself, automatically. So right now the size of an array is 5, and then as I gave you that example that my array has been labeled as n, and we're saying size, so that means this array will have room for 5 values and that will be of integer type. After that we are saying sub main, that's your main procedure, main program. These are the variables we were talking about, that we needed a variable I, j, and then temp, and all were of integer type. And there was the first thing is how to create data in an array, what to do. So you can start I1 to size. So whatever the size is, this loop will run accordingly, and every time number is generated, and that number would be in the range of 300, or if you want that to be generated in the range of 1000, you can change this here. So random number is generated automatically. If it is a decimal number, floating point number will be converted into integer and will take place into an array. And after that, that contents are going to be displayed on the screen. And this way the loop will work 5 times. And then we have this program for the sorting that we just discussed. That I is equals to 1 to size. So that means this first loop, outer loop, is for the number of passes I was talking about. If there are 5 numbers, so 5 passes. If there are 10 numbers, so 10 passes. So outer loop is controlling the passes. Inner loop is controlling the comparison, and that comparison was from the rest of the numbers, so it was bigger than I, so I plus 1 to size. So we were making comparison right till the end. That is why inner loop will run several times with I. And then this was the condition we checked there in our example. If n of I is more than n of j, that means first number is bigger than the second number. Then what? If it is bigger, that means sorting needed, change is needed. This is what is called swapping. So swapping needed. These are the same instruction that I wrote on the board, that you can draw diagonal lines. If you see diagonally, you will find same variable. This diagonal line, this diagonal line, this diagonal line. So whenever you see this kind of 3 pair of similar variables being used there, so it is that examiner must have done swapping there. And there is going to be a massive use of swapping in any kind of sorting that examiner is talking about. There are different kinds of sorting that you can see. So you got outer loop, you got inner loop, and after that After that, we're going in the detail of printing the contents. I'm leaving one line empty, blank, and after that I'm printing the data of an array. So if you want this printing to be done up there also, before sorting, so before sorting, printing is done here. This line would generate the number, put that into an array, but it will not be in sequence, it will print it out for you. So it's like generating the number, storing it, as well as printing it. But this will be unsorted list of array that is being created here. This sequence of instruction will sort it out, and this sequence of instruction will print sorted data for you. So we'll test our program by running it also. So let's run and check. So I'll say goodbye after that. So I'm going there, and then you catch up. एक second, चला के. Right, guys, see. This is what our program did. Generated the sequence of non-sorted data. It's all in jumbled up order. But look at the next list after the gap, printing all the numbers in the sequence. So if I put that there so that you won't confuse. I hope you can see all the numbers are sorted, 86 and then 90 and then 160, 173, 211. So the sorting is done. Hope you understood this. I went really fast. It was an accelerated kind of sorting process that I've showed. But that's the way it is. When classes have stopped and then schools are closed, still believe that this teaching should not end. And students should be connected all the time with the teacher. So for the future, still if you have any query related to this particular topic or any other topic, you're most welcome to contact me. And you'll find me everywhere on the Facebook or on other communication channels, Zoom, etc. You can message me personally. So I would definitely help you out. So see you in class then some other time.